Okay, fellas, bring it in. Okay, welcome back, boys. First off, I know you're still a little bit peeved off about what happened against Napoli, but they're a good team, no harm in losing to those guys. And we did get the biggest overachiever award for the Conference League, so that's something. But what I want you guys to do is channel that anger, that aggression, and make sure that it results in a good start to the league season here. So once again, we get that nice little gap before we enter the Champions League qualifying, okay? Big season, boys, come on. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 47 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM. I hope you are doing well, and today we play a league game against Valur Reykjavik a month after we have started the league season. Off the back of that, we are going to do our big European roundup, check out who won the UEFA competitions and who won the top 5 domestic leagues around Europe, as well as a coefficient update. So it's a little bit of a big episode before we get back into Champions League qualifying in tomorrow's episode. So if you are looking forward to this one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we start off today's episode with a little bit of good news from yesterday. If you missed that episode, I'll leave a link to it above my head in the top right corner. After being knocked out of the Conference League, in the end we were awarded the biggest overachiever award, which I suppose is quite nice. Ideally, wouldn't have actually ended up in the Conference League. We were quite close to getting out of the Europa League, but if we won that game yesterday, I think we would have had a good chance of going on to the final and potentially lifting that trophy. So we're definitely making some gains in this series. It feels like starting to really kick on in terms of European football, and off the back of that as well, we have been given a little bit of money now that the European competitions have come to a close. We'll round that up later in the episode and show you guys who finished where, but we got £32,000 off the back of our Europa League TV revenue and another £112,000 from the coefficient ranking pool money. So that is some nice money that we did not get last season. That's a little bit of a boost now that we have been making Europe in consecutive seasons. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more of that at the end of this upcoming season, which, as I said, is going to be starting in tomorrow's episode, so not too long before we get straight back into the swing of things European football wise. But we have actually started the league season since the end of yesterday's episode. We have played 4 league games between now and then. The first of those was actually quite a big game, the first favourite against the second favourite in the season preview, as we travelled away to take on Breidablik. And a very good start to the season this was for us. A great performance in Biyamba with a corner there at the 36-minute mark. He gets onto it at the near post, put us 1-0 up, and then with 10 minutes to go, we were controlling this game quite nicely at this stage anyway. Breidablik weren't really threatening us, but João Pedro seals it to make it a 2-0 win away from home on the opening day against the team who are the strong favourites to finish second behind us in terms of the season preview. Look at the stats there. They didn't even have a shot on target, only the 1 shot overall in the game. A very good performance from us there with our slightly new look 11 that is going to be going into European competition this year. We've got Nygaard still starting there on the right wing, and of course Galtason, who we signed off Nats KR. He has now made his way into the first 11, taking over from Noam Bonnet. He is a very promising young defensive midfielder, should be a player that we can build this team around for the next couple of years, being homegrown in nation. And the other change that we've made from the European team that we did have stepping out is Coutinho comes in for Bamba. We are trying to get rid of Bamba, but he is in his last year of his contract anyway, so we're just going to start phasing him out of the club. We have some good young right backs coming through in behind Coutinho. The likes of Ian Carlo and Adri Garrido are still here, so we're just phasing Bamba out of the club. But that is what our squad, our first 11, looks like these days, and that was a very good performance to start off the league season. Off the back of that, we scored heaps of goals in our next 2 games. It would take a little while for us to get through the highlights of these ones. A home game against Reykjavik, we beat these guys 7-0, an absolute pounding. This was a double to Pedro, a double to Nygaard. Bjarkason got a goal, Galtason got a goal, Corbo got a goal. A very complete performance to beat that team 7-0. So we started the season off very strongly, and off the back of that we played Nats KR, the team that we took Galtason from, because of course Bologna were after him. Just want to clear that up again, just in case you guys think I've pinched players from another Icelandic team for no reason. But another very comprehensive performance here, this one away from home, which actually makes it a little bit more pleasing. A 5-0 win, Pedro with a hat-trick, and goals to Nygaard and Gavioli off the bench. So another really good performance to start off the season there against Nats KR. In our most recent game before today's episode, we were at home taking on Hafnarfjordur. We picked up a 2-0 win. We didn't open the scoring in this game until after half-time, but it was around 10 minutes into the second half. João Pedro made his way down the right-hand side, puts a good ball across there for Bjarkason, heads that into the top right corner, and we did go 1-0 up. And then 10 minutes later, we got the scoreline 2-0. Bjarkason trying to slot a ball there through for João Pedro, but it falls quite kindly to Christian Sekularak, and he makes it 2-0. So we are 4 from 4 in our first 4 games of the season, and quite comprehensive performances, as you would have been able to tell by those scorelines and the stats as well. So what that means going into today's game, where we take on Valur Reykjavik, the team who finished fairly close up behind us in second in this league last year. We are on top by 2 points, already looking quite good. There is a couple of other undefeated teams in the league, but they have not won all their games like we have. The likes of HK Stjarnan, who are newly promoted. They are doing a very good job early on here back in the top division. Also, Valur Reykjavik are at the moment unbeaten, but only 1 win from their 4 games, only on 6 points. But we are looking quite good so far. A big goal differential advantage of 16 goals, which is nice because last season Valur Reykjavik did have that goal differential advantage over us. Looks like that is going to be heavily in our favour already this season, even with only 4 games gone. But this is a quite interesting match week that we have got coming up in today's episode at the start of June. You can see there is a game that has already kicked off. Breidablik currently leading HK 1-0. That would do us a big favour because Breidablik, who were predicted to finish second in the season preview, have not won any of their first 4 games, which for a team who I'm pretty sure are in Europe this season is not too promising. They have a lot of promising youngsters there at Breidablik. A lot of those players are on my shortlist. Can't sign them unless a foreign club does come in for them, but they have started the season off very poorly. They might be picking up points there, though, against HK, which would do us a favour. And if we can beat Valur Reykjavik, these are the teams who are usually there or thereabouts towards the top of the table. We would give ourselves a really good launching pad for the rest of the season if we can get to 15 points after our first 5 games. Having a quick look at the season preview, you will see Breidablik were the second favourites, but they have just loosened a little bit from the start of the season thanks to that poor start. They were about the $5 mark. Now they've gone out to $9.50, should be saying pounds, not dollars. Valur Reykjavik and HK just in behind. They complete the European teams here for us in Iceland for this upcoming European season, which, as I said, is going to be starting tomorrow. But we are heavy favourites for the league this season, and we have started off in that manner with 4 very convincing wins. Hopefully, we can keep that going today, taking on Valur Reykjavik, and we will come back shortly from the Husavik Heroes, a home game for us this one, so we would ideally be winning this one, need to pick up the points when available in these home games at the very least, but we'll come back shortly and see if we can remain unbeaten and keep our winning streak going against Valur Reykjavik in the league. And here are the team sheets for this game. We've had to make a few changes to our regular best 11 going into this game, which is not ideal, but hopefully we can still get the job done considering our recent form. Ian Carlo is starting over Coutinho at right back. He is quite injury susceptible at the moment, so we're just going to make sure that he gets a little bit of rest before we get into those European games. And the other change comes on the right side at centre back. Kurt Shaw coming in for Mbiamba, who has just picked up a very slight niggly injury, which is keeping him out for today's game only. That means that Mbeba comes on the bench where Shaw usually would be, but otherwise it's our first choice 11. Should be a team good enough for picking up a win at home. Let's see if we can get the job done. 14 minutes gone, we have our first highlight of this game. Very quiet so far, just the one shot in the game in our favour, and possession at the moment quite even as well, but we now look to go forward. João Pedro, good ball there for Swiderski, puts it wide. That's a lovely move, but we can't quite hit the target, and it remains 0-0 early in this game. And not too long off the back of that first highlight, we do have another one starting off in a fairly similar position to what that first one did, where Swiderski had a great chance, couldn't quite hit the target. Another good chance for him here, and again, he misses the target. He is cutting through them quite nicely in this game so far, but hasn't hit the target. Still 0-0, just past the 20-minute mark. Highlight just before half time here. Yet again, we are in possession so far. We are starting to really dominate stats things since we did see that first highlight in this game. Hopefully, we can get some reward for that before half time. Hopefully, nice long ball there for João Pedro, and he forces a good save there out of the Valur Reykjavik goalkeeper. So potentially, we will only be locked up at 0-0 at half time, which stats-wise would be a little bit disappointing based on how we've started that game. But here is Kurt Shaw, his first start in the first 11 for quite some time. That centre-back partnership of Mbiyamba and Corbo has been very solid for us, but with Mbiyamba picking up a little bit of a niggly injury, he gets his chance, and that's a really nice header into the top right corner of the goal. And we are going to go into the sheds, it looks like, with a pretty comfortable 1-0 win. Stats-wise, we absolutely deserve it. Valur Reykjavik have not fired a shot at all, so hard to argue with that scoreline. Potentially a few more shots on target and we could be up by more. Hopefully that happens throughout the second half, but pretty happy with how this is going at the moment. Hopefully we can make it 5 from 5 and hold on to this lead in the second half. And a very early highlight here to kick off the second half. Diaz with a long throw picks out Pedro. Nicolucci Caviglia runs onto it inside the box, given far too much space there, and that is a really well worked goal off the throw. Nicolucci Caviglia puts that in the top right corner, and that's exactly what we wanted to start off the second half, extend our lead to 2 goals striking either side of halftime. We mentioned that in yesterday's episode against Napoli. That is a great time to score, and we have done it either side of the half. 2-0 Volsungur just after the restart, and we get a free kick here. Sviderski, the ball ends up going in the back of the net, but not the right way, and it does remain 2-0 early on here in the second half to Volsungur. And up to the 59-minute mark here, I think it's time for us to make our first substitution. We've got a lot of players here going quite well on green ratings, but we're just going to give them a rest when we're able to here with a quite condensed schedule at this stage of the season. Bjarkason, I think we are going to take off at this stage. Ledson can come on for him, down to a 2-star current ability now, which is a little bit concerning, being a homegrown club and nation player now. I was hoping he'd be a little bit higher rated than that for a wee bit longer until we could get some more players with that status coming through at the club. But that will be our first substitution. Still a very capable winger is Ledson, and we are still 2-0 up at the hour mark. And shortly off the back of that substitution, we are shown another highlight, and it is Valur Reykjavik on the attack in this one. Nice ball there for Alexandersson. Is he onside? Indeed he is. It's actually a really good save that from Sarah Fellini to tip that over the bar, and we do keep the scoreline at 2-0. We make that substitution. The highlight does now end. Still 2-0 with 25 minutes left to play. 70 minutes gone. It is a goal kick here to Valur Reykjavik. Their only threatening chance so far in this game was from that last highlight that you did see off the back of our first substitution, but we are now back in possession, and hopefully we can grab just one more goal to put this beyond doubt in these last 20 minutes. Is a great ball there for Ledson. Was he onside? Not, doesn't matter, because he thunders that off the upright. Oh, so close, but it remains 2-0 here to Volsungur late in this game. And up to the 78-minute mark now, time for us to make our last few substitutions. We've now got players dropping down to red hearts. Diaz can come off for Raul Prada, and also Caviglia. We will keep him nice and fresh after that big injury he had last season. Gavioli can come on for him, but still feeling quite comfortable here with a 2-0 lead heading into the last 10 minutes. 86 minutes gone. We have a late highlight in this game. Valur Reykjavik in position, looking to get a goal back to try and make this scoreline a bit more respectable. Although if they did get one goal here, it would make things a little bit interesting with 3 minutes left. But we are now in position. Ledson starts to drive for. Good ball there for João Pedro. Hits it across the face of the goalkeeper into the bottom left corner, and that will absolutely seal things. Another really good performance here from our first choice 11, with a few little changes for this game because of tiredness and injury. And it looks like it's going to be Volsungur 3, Valur Reykjavik 0. Ledson comes off the bench to get an assist, and João Pedro gets his first goal of the game. But look quite good in this game so far. Valur Reykjavik with only the 1 shot overall and the 1 shot on target. We have been very dominant, like you would have seen from those earlier games that we have played prior to today's one. Looks like the vertical tiki-taka is doing exactly what we wanted it to, looking quite dominant domestically now that we've had a few months with this system in place, both with the deal to Bakar and with the Conference League knockouts, and that's a good comprehensive win against one of our main title challenges for this upcoming season. Means we'll be on 15 points after 5 games in the league, and that's a good launching platform to go into the rest of these league games before we do get into the Champions League qualifiers starting in tomorrow's episode. We make it 5 from 5, looking very good so far, and that win is made all the sweeter by the fact that Breidablik did defeat HK in the other game. They did hold the lead prior to our game kicking off, and that scoreline did remain. So what that means is, with most teams having played 5 games, we are on top with a very healthy 19 goal differential, and we've got 15 points still yet to concede a goal in the league as well, which is very nice. So looking solid defensively and very threatening attacking wise, and we are 5 points in front of both HK and Keflavik and Nat. So a few teams chasing us at the moment, but we are in a very good position going into the Champions League qualifiers in tomorrow's episode, especially if we can keep this form up in the league in between now and then. But we'll come back shortly and do our European roundup at the end of the 2024-25 season of this Build a Nation save. And we have gone forward a few more weeks off the back of that Valur Reykjavik game. In fact, we've actually played one more Islands Dealden game in between now and then, and happily we have kept our unbeaten run in that competition going with a 2-0 win away at Shaun, goals to Imbayamba back from his injury and Nicolusi Caviglia in the first half. So we are still unbeaten, and we are still 5 points clear with Keflavik and Narts in pursuit of us now, but still yet to concede a goal in our first 6 domestic games of the season. Actually, you can make that 7, because we also played a Mulka-Bickerin game with the rotation team. It was 0 at half-time in this one at home to Helka, but we got 4 second-half goals. So Kularak got 1, Isidore with a double, and Goodnesson with 1 in the 81st minute. So we make our way through to the third round of the Mulka-Bickerin as well, albeit that's going to be very interesting at the end of June, right before, of course, the expired contracts do come up in Europe. That's something which is going to be coming up in tomorrow's episode as well. The transfer window will open, but we have been drawn against the team which did beat us in the Mulka-Bickerin final last season very early on in the third round away at HK. So that could be interesting to see which of those 2 strong teams here in Iceland does go out at that stage of the competition. Hopefully it's not us, as we would like to give our backup team some good solid football while the first team does compete in Champions League qualifying, and hopefully the Champions League group stage, if not one of the Europa League or Conference League for the rest of this upcoming European season. But a very good start for life here at Volsungur in the 2025 domestic season. But we make our way over to the inbox, and before we have a look at the results of the various competitions, you can see here that we have moved up 11 places in terms of the Icelandic League from 70th to 59th, and that is the highest riser in terms of a European competition in this past season. So we are doing some good work for the Iceland League in this save. We are also the most improved team in Europe, and by some way as well. We have moved up a whopping 295 places up to 93rd position in the European clubs rankings. We'll actually go have a little bit of a look at this. The usual suspects inside these top 20 places or so. We steadily make our way down. Obviously, we're still going to be a wee way down in these rankings, considering we've only been in Europe for the past 2 seasons. In fact, you can see some teams that haven't made their way into European football English-wise for quite some time are above us here, the likes of Fulham, Hull City, which is a little bit interesting, although they are probably the Premier League teams at this stage. But we make our way down a little bit further, and there we are in 93rd place. We got a very nice 17 coefficient points as a club for the past season, no doubt thanks to our various exploits at some stage in all 3 European competitions. And we are on 22.0, just sitting in behind Malmo and ahead of Celtic in Scotland. So we are bigger than Celtic, arguably, which is nice. But that's a nice little bit of work for us after 2 European seasons here at Volsungur, getting ourselves inside the top 100 clubs in Europe. And we have also risen in the European coefficient table, and this one is the most exciting one out of those last few news inbox items that we do have, because we have gone all the way up to 28th position, and because of that, we now get 3 teams entering the second qualifying round of the Conference League instead of the first qualifying round, starting at the start of the next European season, 2026-27. So we have to wait a little while until that change takes effect, but that is a really good rise for us in the coefficient table. We have gone up from 36th to 28th, and that means that we are now a little way behind the likes of Hungary and Croatia. There's a bit of a gap there in the current season, but if they don't do too well this upcoming season and we do quite well, because yet again, we are going to be getting rid of a 0.625 season, we could actually go above those nations despite that current gap that they do have on us. So we still could be in for a bit of a rise at the end of this season, provided we do a similar job to what we did in Europe last season, especially if some of the other teams can help us out after picking up a 6.625 throughout our various exploits in European competition. For Iceland, and I'll just go up a little bit now that I've realised that we've been a bit too low for you guys to probably see what Iceland has looked like compared to the other nations, and we'll also have a look at the qualification places more importantly with this little upgrade that we do have going into the start of the next season. If we compare where we were to where we are going to be, you can see that we have gone in 36th, where we did have the 3 teams entering the first round of Conference League qualifying. We were able to just sneak up to 28th. I thought we'd be making our way up to 29th, and that's quite good because we still would have had the one team in the first qualifying round of the Conference League. But with that extra place that we have been able to jump up, we now have all 3 teams that make their way into the Conference League entering at the second qualifying round, albeit there is no change to what round we do enter Champions League qualifying. That will not happen until we start making our way up into the top 17 spots, which currently start with Greece and Scotland. So a very good year for us coefficient-wise here in this save, and hopefully we can build on that quite significantly yet again with that 0.625 that we will be getting rid of at the end of this upcoming season. That should mean that we can jump up, hopefully, just outside that top 20, considering that the other nations just up above us are getting rid of some quite good years themselves. So looking quite good for another jump up the rankings in this coefficient for the upcoming season, making some quite good progress in this save, despite it having only lasted 5 years and only having been in Europe ourselves for 2 of those years. So that is all good stuff. And now we will go have a look at all the different results from the European leagues. First up, we have the Premier League, and this time around it was Manchester United who have won the Premier League, and quite comprehensively as well, by 10 points. Following them are Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool. Into the Champions League, Arsenal and Brighton in the Europa League, which is interesting. Brighton with a very good season for them there, and Tottenham are in the Conference League. We jump over to La Liga in Spain. Real Madrid win that by 5 points over Barcelona. Atletico Madrid and Athletic Club round up the remaining Champions League spots. Villarreal and Real Sociedad in the Europa League, and Sevilla are in the Conference League. So that sort of rules out their love affair with the Europa League in this save. Anyway, in terms of Serie A, Juventus winning as you would expect, albeit only by 1 point over Inter Milan, and another point back to AC Milan. Atalanta grabbed the last Champions League spot in that league. It is Lazio and Napoli in the Europa League, and Sampdoria in the Conference League. Down to the Bundesliga, and if we go away from the Bundesliga playoffs, which Hanover have beaten Nuremberg very comfortably back to the league table, and Bayern Munich do win the league as you would expect, albeit only 3 points this time over Borussia Dortmund. Dortmund getting a little bit stronger in the save by the looks of it. Bayer Leverkusen and RB Leipzig fill out the Champions League spots. Wolfsburg and Hertha Berlin in the Europa League, and it is Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Conference League. And to round up the top 5 leagues, we do have Ligue 1, where Troyes have defeated Nimes in the playoff. But looking at the overall league table, PSG absolutely cakewalking at 1 loss, which is a little bit interesting, but 85 points, 16 points clear of Nice in second. Lyon are the other team who are going to be in the Champions League. Lille and Rennes in the Europa League, and Brest make their way into the Conference League. Monaco having a little bit of a shocker, it is fair to say, in that past French season. So that's what the top 5 leagues look like in Europe. And now having a look at the different continental competitions, we start off with the Conference League, and as you can see there, Napoli indeed did beat Lille, somewhat like we predicted in yesterday's episode, to win the Conference League 1-0. So in the end, we did get knocked out by the eventual champions, so didn't do too bad a job there. I still think if we got past Napoli, we would have had a good chance of lifting that trophy, and that somewhat justifies that opinion. Going over to the Europa League, Chelsea defeated Manchester United 3-2 in an all-English final. That was off the back of a semi-final where Chelsea defeated Liverpool and Man United defeated Villa Real and over to the Champions League. And yet again, Mauricio Pochettino's Paris Saint-Germain win it for the third straight season with a 1-0 win there over Real Madrid, the semi-finalists in that competition. With Dortmund, they got knocked out by Madrid, and the other one was Arsenal in the semi-finals of the Champions League. They were the team that got knocked out by the eventual champions in PSG. So that's our European roundup for the 2024-2025 season, right before we get back into the swing of things in Champions League qualifying tomorrow. And we are in a very good position in the league before we do head into that. Just a few more games left to play before we get around about the halfway mark when that Champions League qualifying does start. A 5-point gap at the top of the table, winning all 6 games. It's looking quite good for us here with our vertical tiki-taka system. But that will do it for today's episode. If you did enjoy it, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video. And if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. Tomorrow we will be starting off Champions League qualifying, but the draw for that hasn't quite happened yet, so we'll probably do that in the intro for tomorrow's episode, so you guys do find out who we are playing. I'd expect us, with that good coefficient that we did pick up as a club in this past season, to get quite a kind draw for those first couple of rounds, hopefully, for Champions League qualifying compared to what we had last season. That would be quite nice. Potentially, we could keep improving and make our way into the group stages of the Champions League proper this time around, although if it worked out like it did last season, I do think we could go quite close in the Conference League with a slightly improved squad that we do have here for this upcoming European season at Volsungur. But we will come back tomorrow for the first qualifying round of the Champions League. Until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.